welcome back to my channel. This is Pashpika, the channel where we talk about the female stuff, the menstrual cycle, the feminine energy, and everything about the female. Video we were going to talk about the 7 female archetypes. Now, if you're not aware of the archetypes and what are exactly these, I'm going to be talking exactly the same thing in this video. So without further ado, let's get started with that. Before we go back, consider clicking the like button, guys. I truly appreciate that. If you want more such video in the future, consider subscribing, hit the bell icon. Whenever we're gonna upload new video, you're gonna get notified about it. Exactly is the female archetypes and why it's really important as a female to know about it. Now, the different female archetypes actually represent and characterize the different features in the females. Like some females are more like a lover, some are more like a queen, some are more like a different related nature, more common at the piece. So depending on what type of a nature or characteristics you have, you would be grouping into one of these 7 archetypes, and depending on that you will be very clear what kind of strength you have and what kind of weakness you have, and how you can actually use your strength in your benefit to achieve the life of your dreams. So these 7 archetypes, let's talk about that. The first is the lover, the huntress, the maiden, the mother, the queen, mystic, and sage. So we will going to talk about each of these 7 ones. The first one that I'm going to be talking about is a lover archetype. It presents a woman's most primal urge to connect and create. That's related to the love, like the connecting and creating. As the oldest feminine archetype, the lover represents a woman's erotic energy and her capacity for psychic and physical creation. When this archetype is active in a woman's psyche, she feels compelled to fulfill both procreative and creative instincts. Be more in the terms of the physical connection as well. Different connection like the mental, emotional, spiritual, all these different kinds of the connections, whether with her partner or whether with her kids or whether with her close people in her life. So what are the strength and the challenges? The strength is like they are naturally magnetic since they are in the creative mode. So they are the creative ascendant, and they are also independent, are more kind of like a pleasure oriented if you're focusing from the lower type, like more involved in the sex and all that stuff. More insights, arousal, and passion in the others. But the challenges is that they have the lack of the focus, fragile self-esteem. Let's talk about the second archetype that I have for you is the maiden archetype. Now, the maiden archetype, when the maiden archetype is dominant in a woman's psyche, she exudes an effervescent, eternally youthful quality. In the negative, the archetype predisposes a woman to be both compliant and passive, receptive and creative, kind of like a style, fully integrated, mature and self-actualized women. It's a kind of like a maiden. Now that they have the strength is the empathy, creativity and receptiveness. The challenges they are having, like they have the emotional codependency, because since they are more kind of like a passive mode to more receive, more receptive and allowing the things to happen, so they can be at times emotionally codependent on their partner or on the relationship they have. It's that kind of archetype. Let's move on to the third archetype that I have for you is mother archetype. Now, the mother archetype, as the name suggests, it would be more dedicating towards a lover, loving, more kind of like a nurtured, caring. So when that's what the mother do, she actually create the desire to create the life. They create the newborn baby in her womb and actually give birth to that baby and then nurture it, care it, do all the things to help that baby survive in a beautiful, amazing way. So unlike the lover, which inspires a woman to procreate, the mother is driven by actual idea of motherhood. So if you are feeling like you are more kind of like a caring person, more kind of like a nurturing person, not just related towards your babies, and if you don't have a babies, let it be like that. But still, if you are feeling like you're more caring towards the animals or the kids or in general the living beings around you, then you could be falling in one of this mother archetype. That is a huge thing. I think that traditional concept of being a female is related to the more mother, because they are more caring and nurturing their kids, nurturing their family and actually placing their needs behind. So that kind of mother archetype falls if you are also that person, you are having a family and not actually taking care of yourself because you're too involved to take care of your spouse, your kids and other members in your family, then maybe you fall in this category. But the strength you have is in nurturing, taking care, the persistent, compassionate, and grounded. The challenges could be, which I'm going to tell you, is self-neglect. Since you are not actually placing your needs first, you are placing other people's needs first. So you may go into like self-neglecting, like you are neglecting yourself, you're not taking care of yourself, like lack of the self-love, self-care. You go boundaries for their kids. They can do whatever they want to actually keep their babies in a good shape and size and having a good life for them. They actually sacrifice themselves for their babies. So that kind of mother archetype is have. And I feel like this is more kind of like a traditional culture when the females were more in that stuff. Like then they were only there in the four walls of their home and actually taking care of their kids, their family, cooking the food and nurturing them and not even thinking about them, lacking of the self-love. That's kind of like mother archetype is more traditional. The one is queen archetype. Now the name suggests queen would be like a feminine in more in the power of the queen, having a sovereignty, the power, the leadership, and actually giving herself for his king and in that kind of mindset. Queen archetype can make a woman feel incomplete without her partner because she's like so much focusing on her marriage life with her king, with her ideal partner. And if she is a single or is not getting that much love as she need from her partner, she may feel incomplete, longing for her partner, for her king. That could be a great, if you are having a great wife who's actually loyal to you in every aspect of the life and more leadership and more that kind of stuff, that could be helpful as well and could be a challenges as well. So the strength is the loyalty, the leadership, the companionship, and more kind of like leading the stuff or more kind of like being in the headspace to actually taking care of the stuffs. The challenges could be loyalty, incompleteness. You may feel incomplete because you're not with your partner, you don't enjoy that much your single life. So that could be the little bit downside and challenges of a queen archetype. Let's talk about the fifth archetype that I have for you is huntress archetype. Now the name suggests the huntress archetype more would be there in the masculine energy because huntress kind of like hunting role would be more favorable for the male counterpart because the males are more kind of like a hunting, like they used to hunt, like back in the ages the male used to hunt for their family, actually hunting for food and getting for their kids, for his spouse. So hunting game or hunting kind of mentality is more for the males, but when it comes in the females, that's called the huntress archetypes. Now this huntress archetypes you could be seen in the females who are more in the athletic power ground or who are more in the armies or militaries or that kind of forces where female needs to be more in a masculine power, right? Obviously they want to be an independent, okay? And that's great if you want to achieve the life of your dream. This kind of archetype will going to help. This type of female would be more independent, more powerful and focusing on their dreams. See such in the politics or in the athletes or in the physical forces. And yeah, the strength could be the self-reliance, courage, goal-oriented, fully focused, and often sympathize with women's causes. The challenges could be like they are emotionally unavailable since they are more focusing in the masculine energy. Every human has the the masculine and the feminine energy. Since this kind of huntress archetype is more masculine, so they would be lacking the feminine power. So, or you can call it as that they would be having very less feminine energy because of they are more in masculine. So they can be emotionally unavailable and can be a little bit more cruel. Maybe. Let's talk about the another archetype, that's the sage archetypes. Now the sage archetypes represent a woman's pursuit of worldly knowledge, strategy and objectivity. Sage is kind of like related to the huntress archetype because in the huntress archetype they are like more goal oriented and getting the things done and all, but here in the sage they are more resourceful, more actually researching about it, more knowledge based, and they also want the power, the leadership qualities. So they are dominant to be more practical, competent and competitive. So their greatest strength could be the emotional objectivity, the intelligent, and they could be more resourceful, more leadership quality they would be having. The challenges could be that like the frigidity, emotional unavailability since they are more in the masculine energy. The thing. Now we were going to move on to the last archetype, stick archetype. Introverted women who more are kind of like a spiritual, focused about their own goals and into them rather than extrovert. Like if you're an extrovert, that may not be focus, may not be that kind of mystic archetype. Strength could be the confidence, the deep concentration, because she's going more inside of that, than she would be having a more great intuitions. Creativity, prioritizes inner peace. The challenges could be deep introversion, since she's actually focusing entirely deep inside of her. She would be getting isolated from the environment around her, or maybe isolated from her family, from her friends, because she's more kind of like inward focusing, more introversion. So more introversion, extroversion would be lacking in her, and she would be having an emotional frigidity. Now these types of the archetypes are there 7. Now I want to tell you that personally I actually fall into the different archetypes, because I'm not fully a queen archetypes, I'm not fully a mother archetypes, I'm not fully a lover archetypes. Like I do have the characteristics of mystic archetypes, and I do have the characteristics of mother archetypes. So I'm kind of like a mixed one. So you would also be kind of like relating yourself into more than one archetypes, and that's completely normal. But let me know what type of archetype or types you are, if you are having a combination of the characteristics. I would really love to hear from you in the comment section below, guys. Let me know. And one thing I want to tell you, as we have a certain phases in our lives, so depending on the certain phases where you are, if you're a college, in the college you would be a wise woman. If you're a marriage, you could be a queen. If you're a motherhood, you could be a mother. So I'm telling you that depending on what kind of stage you are, you would be having a different stuff. Like when you're choosing a law school, you are pulled more towards the sage, because you're more resourceful, more researching, more kind of like a leadership quality, knowledge-based pursuit in that. When you're actually into the creative entrepreneurship, you would be more towards the lover. And between becoming a staying at home mother, that could be the mother, or continuing the corporate, be having more than one of the archetypes. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm gonna see you in the next week's video. Till then, take care. Bye guys.